Hi there everybody, my name is Boxer, welcome to a new in real life video. So at the time I was checking out all the transfers, it was in August, so I had a bit of an idea what was going to happen. I'd say at the top I'm not that far from it, but I think the teams that I thought were going to be relegated, yeah, that's absolutely not the case, and we're going to go through and I'm going to tell you how wrong I was, because that's mainly what happened here. Let's come into the season. There are the promoted teams that were Brighton, Huddersfield and Newcastle. Newcastle already played, they're pretty good. They also have Rafa Benitez, so I thought they would stay up, which they're going to do. I'm going to talk about the table right now. But I predicted that Burnley, Huddersfield and Brighton, two of the newly promoted teams, that they would go straight back down. And all of these three teams that I thought were going to be relegated, whilst Huddersfield is in a bit of a dangerous spot at the moment, Burnley is 7th just behind Arsenal. They have like 50 points. No one saw this coming, so that I said Burnley would finish 20th, and they're actually 7th. So that's completely horrendous. And then Brighton, I say they're pretty safe. They're like around Bournemouth, Newcastle status. And Huddersfield, they could go down, but at the moment, the three that I think, because there's only a few games left, the two that are sure to go down, it's going to be Stoke. They're having a lot of problems right now. West Brom, they lost Alan Pardew and they're going to go down, that's for sure. They've got no manager, they've got no team spirit, and they're like 10 points behind 17th place. And then that's the big question, who's going to go down with these two? There's Southampton that lost today against Arsenal, but there's other teams. There could be Huddersfield, as I said, in contention, Crystal Palace, maybe even West Ham and those sort of teams. But I'd say above Leicester, all the other teams gonna stay in the Premier League. So the teams that would be at the bottom of the table that weren't going to be relegated, I said there would be Palace, Swansea and Bournemouth. And at the moment, Palace is 17th and Swansea is just in front of them by a few points with Huddersfield. And the four remaining teams that I said would be in the bottom half of the table, I said there would be Newcastle, which is the case, Leicester, which I think are 10th right now. And then there's also Watford. Yeah, they're just above of Everton. Everton had a poor season, to be honest. And then I said Stoke would be 10th. But Stoke are going to be relegated, so that's completely wrong as well. And then I said to myself, there's these teams that are always pretty good, like Southampton and Everton, especially as Everton, they started to get all this money in from Lukaku. They bought Sigurdsson, which at the time I thought was a pretty good bit of business from Koeman. But it turned out that it was completely preposterous, and Allardyce had to come in. Yeah, they're safe, but the start of the season was terrible. Otherwise, Southampton, they still had Virgil van Dijk. I think that they could have gone pretty far, They could have done another 9th position, as I predicted. But at the moment, they are 18th. So, yeah, I think Southampton have too much quality to go down. But I think they need to rebuild next season. They make some beautiful football, so I'll be sad to see them leave. So still out of the top 6, we only have one team that I predicted would go pretty far and get 7th place, and that was West Ham. But West Ham, same as Everton, they had a start of the season that was way under par. They had to change manager, they got David Moyes, and whilst David Moyes did a pretty good job with what he had, I think they're mid-table right now, so it's not that bad of a prediction from myself in August, but pretty bad nonetheless. So here we go into the top 6, and I thought that Tottenham would finish 6th. But that's for my team Arsenal to do this year. And then 5th I said Chelsea, which I think is going to be the case. I don't see Arsenal catching up with Chelsea. And I don't see Chelsea actually catching up with the top 4. So that's probably the only good one that I've got. And 4th, I said it would be Liverpool. They can still finish 4th, even if they go on to win the Champions League or at least get in the final. So I think it's going to be a battle between Liverpool and Tottenham for the 3rd and 4th position. There's not that big of a difference between the two, only that 4th has to go through the pre-games. They have to do something like Arsenal usually do. Well, don't do it anymore because we're not that good. And then 3rd, I said Arsenal would be 3rd. I didn't think we'd win it, but I didn't think we'd be this poor after such a complete disaster of a season. I thought Wenger would try and at least get us back into the Champions League, which we might still do if we can win the Europa League, which I've already talked about in another video. That would be great, but there's still Atletico Madrid in the way. And then there's the question of 2nd and 1st. I was right. but I mixed them up. I thought that people like Pogba and the acquisition of Lukaku, they could win. And I really didn't see Man City playing that well with De Bruyne and Sterling that are on fire, especially until like 3/4 of the way through the season. So Manchester City, they haven't won it yet, but they're a few points from it. So they've won the title in my opinion. And Man U get second place, even if they beat them on the weekend. So overall, I was pretty right on stuff. Apart from the relegation spots, I was completely off it. I mean, even Burnley finished 7th, and I said they would be 20th. That's probably one of the worst things to say ever. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be making a review of my predictions of the Champions League and the Europa League in May, when it's all over. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be making some gaming videos this week, and another in real life video on the weekend, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to try and do a parody as well. It's been ages since I've been trying to make a parody. So I'll keep you up to date. Name's SparkXL. See you in the next one.